YouTubers, Pastorbobncc. Well, how are you guys all doing this morning? Man, I'll tell you what, I got out here early and mowed all my lawns and trimmed some bushes. Man, I'm starting to feel my age. I used to be able to do that with no problem. Now it wears me out. So anyway, listen, when we were up on the Feather River a couple weeks ago, I did a video where I talked about closing doors. And there was a lot of comments on that video, and so I wanted to just reiterate on that just a little bit. So listen, this is what it says in Hebrews 4, 9 and 10. There remains therefore a rest for God's people. For he that has entered into his rest, he has also ceased from his own works, as God did from his. You know, we all have this problem where we manipulate people and circumstances to get what we want. As human beings, we're masters at it. Even as little kids, we learn to manipulate people and circumstances. Mom says no, you go ask Dad. Dad says no, you go ask Mom. I mean, we learn that when we're little to manipulate to get what we want. So there comes a time in every Christian's life when you can look back and realize that the choices you made were not always the best. People, I can turn around and look back at my life. I'm 66 years old, and I got 66 years of mistakes behind me. I got 66 years of manipulating people to get what I want, and sometimes it was not for the best. God opens and closes doors in everyone's life all the time. It's what he does. He's God. He wants what's best for us. He knows what's best for us better than we do. We just have to get that into our heads. But you know what? We're all very stubborn. Every one of us are stubborn. We don't want God's will, we want our will. Even though we say we do, we want our will. We want what we want. That's what we do. We think we know what's best. And then, as I said in that other video, when God closes the door and we want the thing, we get out the axe and we break down the door and go right through it. I've done it many times. Many times God has obviously slammed a door right in my face, and I went and got the axe and I broke down that door and went right on through. And it always, every single time, it turns out to be a major mistake. And you always wind up paying way more than you wanted to pay. And listen, sometimes when you break down a door, the consequences last forever, throughout the entire rest of your lifetime. For years, you can deal with the consequences because you broke down a door. How does God close doors? That's what everybody wants to know. How does God close doors? People, he does it through circumstances. When you're going to get something or to do something, everything goes wrong. When everything goes wrong, that's God closing the door. You go to buy something, car, house, whatever. You go to buy something and you can't afford it. You don't have the down payment. You go in to buy it, they tell you, hey, this is what you got to have down. You don't have it. That's God closing the door. Instead of you saving up the money till you do have it, no, you go borrow the money from somebody else. God closed the door, you got out the axe. How about when you're dating someone? You're dating someone, whether it be a guy or a girl. You're dating someone and all of a sudden all these red flags just start flying up. You know, you catch him or her lying to you. You find them going places where they said they were here but they're not, they're there. Perhaps you find out they're dating someone else at the same time as you. You have all these red flags going up. God's slamming doors in your face, but you think, oh, he's cute or she's cute, so you ignore the red flags. Get out the axe, break down the door, and do what you're going to do. And everybody's done that. We do it all the time. We have to get in the mode of recognizing when the circumstances are going wrong, that's God closing a door. And listen, when God is closing a door, there's no peace. There is absolutely no peace involved in the circumstances, no matter what you're doing. If everything's going wrong and you're frustrated, everything's going wrong, you're just as frustrated as can be, and you just keep plowing on. See, that's how you know God's closing the door. There's no peace. People, when God opens the door, all the circumstances just fall right into place. You have total peace, and a lot of times when God opens the door, you'll see a miracle or two. You'll think, well, there's no way that could happen, and it just does. I mean, I've had that happen so many times. But listen, if you want to have peace in your life, now and in the future, you have to learn to recognize when God is closing doors. And you recognize it by the red flags, circumstances, everything's going wrong. And when God opens the door, you have total peace. Everything just falls into place. Maybe there's a miracle or two, and you go right through that door. People, listen, I hope you get this, because it took me years and years and years to learn this. It took me years and years to finally get this. So this is one time you need to learn from my mistakes. Anyway, I just want to give you something to think about. Heaven or hell, you choose. Just remember, once you take your last breath, it's a done deal.